Welcome back to the Underdog Podcast. This is episode 68, and we actually not quite wrapped up production. We're about to wrap up production. We got Blue Raz finishing on Monday, but we do have the new flavor out, Patriot Pop. It was a smooth production. We were able to, it is pretty cool though, being on site, because you get to, try it again. Not that we haven't tried it before, but like it's a different feel to it, when you're actually at the production facility. They bring in samples right off the line. You get to approve it right on the, right there and then they move on into production. And obviously having a new flavor, it's even cooler because the last run we had already had, tried both the Blue Raz and Strawberry Lemonade. We already had cases of it. But this one was special because obviously, third SKU, and we were there you were there for all three. And it's our first full run at Noble, right?
Yep. Yeah, our last run last January with them was kind of a finishing run, 3/4 of a run, that we didn't get to produce at Ryko. So this is our first full run with Noble, and I mean, all things considered, that's about as smooth as a run can go. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be a few little delays and whatnot, but that's the way it goes. So
Yeah.
all things considered, it's been good.
Yeah, and in comparison to obviously we've dove into the previous production runs that we've had, and there's always been mishaps. There's always been the unexpected, and as they say, like, expect the unexpected because it's inevitable. Like, something's going to happen along the way, and obviously it was funny because I think it was yesterday, but my parents came to see the production for the first time,
Yeah, that was cool.
which like I was really excited about. And when we first got there, it was like, they were just gonna get the batching done, so we wouldn't be able to see, Underdog going down the production line. So I was like, bummer, But you were like, all things considered, if that's the only thing that goes wrong today, like, great,
Yeah. I mean, which is funny too, because I look back at the first run and like I think we take for granted being so close and being able to go back and
Yeah.
forth and okay, we'll come back the next day. This is a much bigger run, so it's not going to all happen in one day. I mean, that first run was 2,000 gallons. Now we're running 12,000 gallons. But, we flew in for that first run, and if it got delayed, like what were we going to do? It's not like we could just fly back the next day,
Yeah. That is crazy when you really think about it,
I guess why it worked out in the first run with CMC in Georgia in the fall of 22 when we ran just our first strawberry lemonade SKU. For those who haven't listened to any previous episodes, that was our first production run. And yeah, I mean, the beauty of it was they opened the facility on a Saturday for us. We were the only thing running. They had it batched Friday night. It was like ready to go. So that's why it worked out. But um, yeah, I mean, all things considered, it went really well. So I guess for reference, it's December 13th. It's 12:15 in the morning. And we just wrapped up the second day of the Rocket Pop production. So to give everyone a little background, we started producing yesterday, December 12th. Started with the strawberry lemonade. I'm excited to get the strawberry lemonade out. We made
Oh yeah.
not only, if you haven't listened to the previous Behind the Business, for sure, go listen to it. We talk a little bit more about this run, the preparation for it, bringing out the new flavor, the changes to the formulation and the can design and whatnot. But we also tweaked one of the lemonade flavoring agent. Used a different company, and we're really thrilled with it. It tastes more like an authentic like lemonade.
Hmm.
So I'm excited to get that out. I think, like we've said too, with the sampling, strawberry lemonade's been more hit or miss
Yeah.
with people liking it and whatnot. But I really think it's going to be a home
Yeah,
run
and
now.
quite honestly, like, there's always been two things that have been on my mind at samplings. One is, or was, the beta alanine. Now that we're
Mhm.
taking that out, it's a little
God, we say
different.
that every time we do a sampling.
Yeah, 100%. And then the other is the flavor. Like, some people love it,
With
and
strawberry lemonade.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
with strawberry lemonade especially, but even some people with blue raz, like, they don't like it, but it's because they're not quite used to the natural sweeteners, the natural flavors, all that kind of stuff, because they're so used to energy drinks. And honestly, the general market of beverages are using
Very
artificial
sweet.
sweeteners, which is like, it's like candy, like,
Mhm.
some of the stuff. So some people aren't used to it, but I honestly think that, we made improvements on every aspect
Mhm.
of this run, whether we talk about the can design, the flavors,
Formulation.
yeah,
Yeah.
formulation. But yeah, I mean, there were a few things that, we had in the works during this production run, or I should say in preparation for this production run. One, getting the website rebuilt. And that in itself is like its own project,
Mhm.
its own unique project, because you really have to have one, a vision for what you want it to look like, how you want the product conveyed, the mission, and it all needs to tie into one. I always, when I was getting ready for all of the web design meetings, like with the team that we have putting the website together, all the coding that has to go on in the background, that obviously I'm not versed in that area, so I can't do it, but I can at least try and explain to them like what we want to see,
Mhm.
and what things in the website can really bring it to life. And I did a lot of research on other brands and like what they do, and I really like pulled some things that I liked, from each one, and how we can implement that into our own website. And it honestly, it's a skill that is hard to learn, in terms of like getting your message across in communication. You know what I mean? In terms of what you want it to look like, because it's not created. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. You're trying to, explain a concept or a
Yeah.
visualization
Same,
verbally.
yeah, and same thing with the cans
Yeah.
too. It's been the same thing, and it honestly gets frustrating sometimes, because obviously it's all digital. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? It's all virtual meetings. It's all sending ideas via different designs and fonts, and different avenues to go down. Now we're talking about the can, but um, and they'll come back with something that's like, my God, like that was not the vision that I had. But you do start to learn, and I think it helps a lot of different aspects of how you're able to communicate with people in general. Whether it's in meetings or like just being more concise and understandable. And it kind of goes back to how we always talk about like assume nothing.
Mhm.
It's really like going the distance of your explanation and being articulate in a way that the message is received regardless of whoever's on the other end of it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. You can't assume that, they are understanding your vision, what you're trying to
Yeah.
create. I think the cans are a perfect example of that. I mean, look how long it took us to come to an agreement with the new can
Oh
design.
my
Like
God.
we went back and
Yeah.
forth forever on
Since
that.
May.
Hmm.
Yeah, since May.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think everything came out great. But anyways, back to the where we were going with that. I kind of went on a tangent there. But the web design being one thing, obviously production, you handled most of that in terms of ordering ingredients, setting things up with the vendors and cans and everything like that. And then, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in terms of launching a new flavor. And it's not just the flavor, but the alteration of the formula, like all these little minute things that changed. That means that everything across the spectrum has to change, whether it's the product page that you're talking about with the product descriptions and the titles, and how you can explain, the difference between the Underdog Performance Drink and the OG UD Energy formula. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like those small things, because if you get a new customer coming to the website
They
and
don't
they
know.
see that, they don't know it.
Yeah.
They could look at it and be like, so what the hell's the difference?
Mhm.
And I feel like you really have to take that like outsider perspective on it and try to have an unbiased opinion, even though we're so involved in it every day. Like where for us, it's like, oh, like you look at it and you're like,
Yeah.
that's got beta alanine. And it's funny too, because, and I realize that because some of the guys on the team,
Oh yeah. Even the boys. Yeah.
yeah, like they won't know the difference between the original strawberry lemonade and
The new
the
one.
second version of
Mhm.
the strawberry
Yeah.
lemonade. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
for me, it's just like, how do you not see it? You
Yeah.
know?
But again, we're used
Yeah,
to seeing that every day.
exactly.
You got to go in with that, like you said, unbiased like persona to it.
Yeah, 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 exactly. But yeah, so production, obviously, we have a couple stories. I think we got to share the story about tonight, because that's just too funny. But we'll start with going back to the production side of things. So one thing is I didn't think I would still be as excited for seeing production. Remember the first time when we were down in
Oh
Georgia
God,
and it
yeah,
was just like a surreal moment?
yeah.
It was still surreal.
Yeah.
like seeing it, especially the new cans. You see Patriot Pop on there, like it's cool. I don't think it's ever gonna get old, honestly.
Especially when we walked out there this morning and saw our cans on the line. I was like, wow, like, yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter how many times you see that. It's so cool.
and especially when they start really coming out and the pallets start getting wrapped,
Hmm.
and you're like, holy
That's
shit! And you
ours.
come back, 40 minutes later, and all of a sudden there's six more pallets, and then you're like, oh my god, that's ours, that's ours, that's ours, that's ours.
Yeah.
So that is a really cool process, and honestly, that in itself, just production day, and we always talk about this about, you see the can and it's like, oh, that's cool, like they have their own energy drink, but what actually is involved in the creation of this right here is insane. How
Hmm.
many processes have to go right? And that was like the first thing I said, probably last year when we first walked in there, is like they have so much advanced machinery that
Quite the
you look
place.
at it and it's
Yeah.
like all it takes is one thing to go wrong,
Hmm.
you know? But I feel like that goes with anything, really. One thing goes wrong in a day to day of business, which is inevitable, and that takes the turn, right? It takes a different direction. How do you pull it back to being on track? Like all those sorts of things. And they're quick, like they fix things quick.
Oh yeah.
There were multiple times where it would get backed up or something would happen and they'd have it, cleared with the, oh God, the technicians
Hmm.
or the mechanics. I forget which
Yeah.
is, yeah, whatever.
Call them technicians. Yeah.
They're in there and getting the job done real quick. But yeah, so fast forward to today, we thought that Patriot Pop was going to be done yesterday when we first went out there, and obviously we had the pre-order running, so we were going to take a bunch of cases from production, bring them back to the warehouse, start packing up the pre-orders, and unfortunately, it was only strawberry lemonade that was going, getting packed out and whatnot, so we had to go back today. We're like, oh, and we had game day today, so 7 o'clock game, not too far away, so we had to leave on the bus at 4 o'clock. So we got there at what, 8:30, 9?
Yeah. We got there about 8:30 this morning.
8:30 this morning, and we start just working on our laptops and stuff like that. They came in with the was it?
The samples of Rocket Pop. Well, we tried Rocket Pop yesterday, but
Yeah.
um, I think we tried it again today, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did first thing in the morning just to confirm, and then strawberry lemonade was still running, and
We
it
grabbed
kept
cans.
and it yeah, and we grabbed some cans, so good. And then we stayed there and worked during the day because obviously we were there for the main point of emphasis of getting the Patriot Pop once and for all. And it ends up being that things got a little delayed. We started getting into early afternoon. It was like 2 o'clock. We're like, what the hell? Like Patriot Pop cases still aren't packed, and we had to be out of there by 2:30 to make it back. It's about an hour drive. And make a long story short, Dylan ended up having to drive me back to campus so I could get on the bus for the game. You're injured though, not scratched. So we got to clear that up.
Yeah.
And then you drove back. So actually, what I don't even know really. We haven't really talked much about that. But what was the deal when you went back there?
I ripped back. I mean, it was already dark by that point.
Yeah,
Pulled in on two wheels at 4:40.
they were
Ran in.
closing at 5.
Yeah, ran in there. Sophia was still there. She was definitely waiting because as soon as she got got me squared away, she's like, "Okay, it was great to meet you. Like, I'm heading out for the
Yeah,
weekend." I'm like, "I'm so sorry for keeping you late. Like, you guys are great. Thanks for accommodating. We'll be in touch on Monday." But literally ran in there. She gave me a sample of the blue raz that had just finished
yeah.
batching. They were going to keep it circulating in the tanks, refrigerated all weekend. I'm like, perfect, right on. Tried it. It was awesome. Ran out back. The team put aside 40 Patriot Pop cases, loaded them up in the Tahoe, backed it up to the loading dock, threw them all in, hit the road. I was out of there by 4:50.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they had everything ready for you then. Yeah,
All
that's
the
good.
cases were coming off at the end. And they were putting them on a pallet. And one of the workers and I just went back, threw them on a dolly, put 40 of them on, wheeled it to the door,
Yeah,
had the Tahoe there. He helped me load them in the back of the Tahoe, and I hit the road,
that's awesome.
stopped at Taco Bell, had a pee.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you grabbed some of the Taco
I was going to, but the line was too long. I was like, I don't have
Yeah.
time.
I think you mentioned that like 3 times this morning. Oh, I got a $15
Gift card to Taco Bell.
You drove by it like you must have drove by it like 4 or 5 times.
On my fourth trip back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that old gift card. Shout out McKenna. Thank you for that. And buzzed back. And then it was like, okay, flying to USM Rankin Gorham.
Yeah.
punched it in, ripped up there. I had to pee so bad. I didn't tell you this part yet. To the point where like I was like in pain. I had to pee so bad, and had to pull over on the side of the road, pee. Took the call with Fordo, one of our sponsored athletes, NIL deal, player for Penn State. We welcomed on the Instagram last week. Had a quick check in with him. Gonna get his clothing line and trading cards squared away over break here. Had a quick conversation with him. Ripped to the parking lot. Ran in with a case of Patriot Pop as the anthem was pretty. You were about to head out,
Yeah.
and watched a hockey game, and then yeah, fast forward to now. We left from
Well,
the rink.
first of all, it was funny because I came back in after the first period and there was a case of Patriot Pop right where I'm sitting. I was like, nice, love that.
Yeah, quick 7-2 win over USM, and then we both hopped in the Tahoe.
Boogied out of there.
Yep, made our way to the warehouse. Well, what time did we get here? About 10 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, something like
10:30?
that.
And started unloading all the cases.
Yeah.
Wheeled the Tahoe right into the warehouse. This place is awesome.
Yeah,
That was
which made me
pretty cool.
think of the C-Bum video. Well, it's a little different because you're driving an 04 Tahoe backing into the warehouse and
Dude,
he's
come
driving
on.
driving what?
68 Camaro.
68 Camaro and his
Whatever he's got.
playing
69
Creed.
Camaro.
Playing Creed.
Yeah.
Gym.
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Tahoe looks just as good. Anyways, unloaded all the cases and we started packing all the pre-orders.
Yep,
So we went
yep.
through about 40 cases we had to pack up tonight.
Yep.
And that brings us to today. We just finished loading all the boxes back into the Tahoe to go out. And I fly out in 6 hours out of Boston, and we thought we'd hop on and catch up on production.
Yeah, but we got to share this one last story before we sign off for the night. I'm gonna let Dylan explain most of it, but I'll preface it with this. So we started, we made a good relationship with the owner of TideSmart Global. It's like a marketing company over here in Falmouth, Maine, and we're leasing out a part of their office space and warehouse space in anticipation for this run and everything like that. So we get, we're doing the podcast here. We got the warehouse. We're fulfilling all our orders and everything like that. And they have quite the setup here, I will say,
Yep.
and very high tech, innovative. I mean, the security system they have here is very involved. And if you didn't already catch the wind, you probably already know where this is going. But they gave us the lay of the land when we first got in here. Like, hey, if you're going to be in here after hours, you got to make sure you disarm the system. We're like, got it. Okay, so we give our security code and everything like that. They give it to us. They let us know, unique to each of us. And tonight was our first night that we were here past 10:30, and that was when the system arms. And yeah, sure enough, we were like packing orders.
You could hear it beeping.
And we hear beeping.
Every periodic beep. I remember we were both packing orders. I'm like, do you hear that? What is that beep?
We got
What does that
music
sound?
playing, so it was like,
Yeah.
was that a beep or was that like, what was that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you take it from here because you're kind of like the main
guinea
actor, the main actor in this story.
So we finally we're like, there it is again. There's that beep. We stop the music. We hear it again. We're like, it's got to be the alarm. So we both went over the first time, right? We looked at the alarm and it said, disarmed.
Disarmed, yeah.
We're like, okay, we're good. We go back. It starts dinging again. We're like, okay, it's got to be the alarm, right? We come back over and it's giving us like the countdown, like it's about to arm.
Like, beep, beep, beep.
Yeah. And we're like, we got to disarm this thing. Put our code in. Doesn't work. You try your code. Doesn't work. It keeps beeping. I don't know. Another 30 seconds, a minute goes
another
by.
30 seconds. And then the actual
The alarm goes off.
The actual alarm starts going off. And honestly, it sounded like a prison break.
Yeah.
Like that's how loud the
Siren
alarm
is
was.
wailing in our ears. We're starting to panic a little bit. We're trying all the buttons.
Yeah.
Nothing's working.
And the last thing we wanted to do, like we knew that if the alarm goes off, it gets sent to the owner and various other people. And it's freaking 11:30 on a Friday night.
Mhm.
Probably in bed, probably signed off for the night,
Yeah. And, you text them, do the right thing, let them know what happened. Obviously, there's no one breaking in. It's just us. It was bound to happen at some point. And
It gets better.
he gives us the heads up that he canceled it. All is well, but the cops may have already been notified, so they may come by. We're like, no worries. So we head back over and continue packing up orders. And I forget if one of us heard something or not, but you're like, just go check, make sure that thing's not dinging again. So I go over and open the door, look at the alarm. Everything looks good to go. I was just about to turn around and be like, nope, all good. And I just happened to look outside, and there is a massive police officer. He just goes, hey, bud. And I'm like, whoa, completely shit my pants. Open up the door. He's like, what's going on in there? And we're like, it's just us. Says he got the security call. He's just checking it out. I'm like, no, it's just us. Asked questions about what we were doing, who we were, what we got going on, why we're at a warehouse at 11:30 at night at this point.
Yeah. On a Friday. He's probably like, how old are you?
On
Like,
a
shouldn't
Friday.
you be out somewhere?
Yeah, a couple of college kids in a warehouse probably thought we were up to no good, but told him who we were and what we were doing, and he let us go, and all was well after that.
Yeah.
But I was shaking in my boots after that. My heart was racing for like another half hour.
Natural source of caffeine.
Yeah, it was a good adrenaline rush for sure. So then we got back and finished up packing the orders. All was well. Now we got to figure out how we're gonna get out of here and arm that thing.
Yeah. Oh, so that's yet to be seen. We might be sleeping on the freaking couch tonight, honestly.
Oh, I got a flight in 6 hours. We gotta go.
True, yeah. But yeah, so we'll wrap this one up. Keep it short tonight. More of a story time than anything. A little bit of an update on the business side of things. But if you guys haven't got your hands on the new flavor yet, Patriot Pop, make sure to check it out on our website. Just to reiterate, so it's got the beta-alanine and ATP no longer in the formula. So now it's 5 performance ingredients, but everything else stayed the same. I'm loving the new flavor profiles. I know we just talked about it, but I think the strawberry lemonade definitely improved. I haven't tried the blue raz yet.
It was awesome.
Yep. But the Patriot Pop, I think, is going to be a hit. Check it out on the website. $35 for 12-pack case, and pre-order is just about over now. I think we got a couple days left, but we're shipping them out, so you'll get it right away. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at @underdog_brand. That's where all the brand updates go down, posting snippets and more behind the scenes stuff. We're starting to get more involved in our YouTube. So obviously we got the video format of the podcast. We'll also be posting a little bit more short form content on there, 3 to 4 minute videos of just highlights from the podcast. And then we're going to start doing some other things as well. Underdog Roundtable, sharing some underdog stories, obviously getting more involved with Behind the Underdogs, getting more interviews with athletes and businessmen and women. So be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Once again, follow us on Instagram at @underdog_brand. We thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys on the next episode.